What's poppin', dogs? Mr. Allen here with some polar graphs. For this one, we have r equals 4 plus 3 cosine theta. When graphing in polar, I think it's really helpful to identify the type of graph that we're working with before we do anything else. So for this one here, because I have a sum or difference, it could be subtraction there, and my two numbers are different from each other, we have ourselves a Limacon. Whereas if the two numbers were the same, you would have a cardioid. And yes, I will be saying Limacon throughout this video because I find it very fun. Anywho, a couple other things that we can figure out just from the equation. It's cosine, which means we're going to be opening in this direction or that direction, or it's going to be symmetric over my x-axis, okay? And then also, does it have a loop or does it not have a loop? It's the other question to ask with a Limacon. Because this number is larger, our a value is larger than the b value, it will not have a loop. Okay, if this number were smaller than this one, then it would have a loop. Another way of looking at that is if our a divided by b is larger than or equal to 1, then it will not have a loop. If it is less than 1, a divided by b is less than 1, then it will have a loop. Okay, so a couple different ways of looking at that. I just say, is this guy bigger? No loop. Is this guy smaller? Has a loop. All right. So for this here, I like to use a t-chart, okay? And I think about my angles first. We got 0 for theta. We have our pi over 2, so all my quadrantals. Pi, then we have 3 pi over 2, and then 2 pi would get us all the way back around. You don't have to do that one, but I will, okay? And now I think, okay, well, if I plugged in 0 for theta, it's kind of like a backwards t-chart in a way from like your normal rectangular coordinates. If I plug in 0 here and I evaluate cosine of 0 is 1, times 3 is 3, plus 4 is 7. So r is going to be 7, and I can plot that point. 0, comma 7. I think this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Lovely. Pi over 2. What's cosine of pi over 2? That's 0. So then 3 times 0 is 0, plus 4 is just 4. So now I have pi over 2, comma 1, 2, 3, 4. Next we have pi. Well, cosine of pi is negative 1. Okay? Negative 1. So then we get 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. 4 plus negative 3, or 4 minus 3, is then positive 1. Okay, so I'm going to have pi, comma, 1. Alrighty, beautiful. Next one, 3 pi over 2. What's cosine of 3 pi over 2? Well, cosine of 3 pi over 2 is 0. So again, we're at 4 plus 0 is 4. And then for 2 pi, cosine of 2 pi is going to be 1. Times 3 is 3, plus 4 is 7. All right, so I forgot to plot that one. Whoops. So we're going to go all the way around. We got 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're all the way down here. I should have just gone all the way around first. Lovely. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the last one, 7. There we go. Beautiful. Excellent. Now, the other thing, too, with these Limacons that don't have a loop, they don't pass through the origin. If it did have a loop, then we would pass through the origin. Okay, but this one doesn't. So what we're going to do is we're going to make, it's not really like a cardioid where it's like a sharp butt, for, you know, lack of better description there. It's got a little more curve to it, so it's going to be very nice and rounded here. And then it like kind of dips in, but not like a sharp point. Not so much like a heart, okay? So it's got, I didn't really do a very good job there. Kind of would be more like something like that. I feel like it would look a little better. And this does not erase that well. Actually, it's not too bad. Cool. I think that's a little bit better. But again, it should not have any kind of a sharpness here. It is just curved right through there, okay? But there we go. As expected, guys, it is symmetric over my x-axis here, right? Opening to the right, whereas if this were sine, it'd be opening up if it's positive, down if it's negative, okay? And then, yeah, if this was a negative right here, that's a good question to ask, because a lot of people are always like, wait, well, what would happen then? If this were a negative here for the 3, then we would just have this whole thing flipped. You'd have a point here. These two would stay the same, and this guy would be over here. And now what you'd have is you'd have this graph that comes around like this. Let's see if I can do it better this time. Not really. Oh, my God. I'm struggling with the no loop. That's way whack. That's just whacked out there. I don't even know. I think that's a little better. Beautiful. All right, so yeah, if it was negative, it goes to the left. If it's positive, it goes to the right. There's a few different types of tricks and things like that you can do to memorize how these things look, where everything goes. I find a t-chart to be best. I find that to be easiest. So if I were you, I'd use the t-chart. But hey, to each their own. I've seen people do it different ways, but that's what I like. All right, that's about it. You guys have a wonderful day, and thanks for watching the video.